that are coming back with another video. So it looked like Tyler Reddick is breaking his silence finally about this Michael Jordan interaction with his son. He did an exclusive interview with Stephen A. Smith that aired late last night, and the world is talking about it, man. Reports is starting to come out that he has addressed the viral video featuring his son alongside of basketball legend, his boss, team owner Michael Jordan. Tyler Reddick said Michael Jordan did nothing wrong with his son, man. NASCAR star Tyler Reddick is calling out the negative chatter over Michael Jordan eyebrow-raising interaction with his 6-year-old son as they celebrated his huge Daytona 500 win over the weekend. Now, it was being reported that it was ice in the young man's shirt. His dad, which is Tyler Reddick, went and got him at the conclusion of the race. He was holding him, and he somehow had ice in the shirt. Michael Jordan was getting the ice out of his shirt. It goes on to say the champion racing appeared on Stephen A. Smith Sirius SM Radio Tuesday and said he just not seeing anything inappropriate between his son and an NBA icon. It's all in the clip. He reasons he's gotten to know MJ and his family over years, and he's focused on celebrating his big win. Now, NASCAR is set to hit the track this upcoming Sunday down in Atlanta. We will be seeing that. I told you guys the other day, I feel like this young man, Tyler Reddick, is going to become a superstar in the NASCAR world, bigger than what he already is. He's going to become a household name. He's appeared on ESPN. He's with Stephen A. Smith. He's on a complete media tour. This was equivalent to the Super Bowl of NASCAR, what we just witnessed. Let's head on over to YouTube. Check out some of this interview. React to it. Let's
until Michael Jordan arrived, just like I wasn't in the golf until Tiger Woods arrived. But obviously, watching this stuff, I'm looking at it, I'm saying, damn, what the hell is up with all of these crashes? This is chaotic as hell. I mean, I can't believe what I'm looking at right now. How mentally exhausting was that for you? Could you speak to that kind of experience when you're a part of a race like that, how mentally exhausting that could be?
That's something that, it's hard to train to improve that, but I think through experience, you learn a lot. And for me in this race, I mean, I remember the first time I ran in the Daytona 500, just the amount of butterfly, the nerves. I felt, sick to my stomach to be walking across the stage in front of over 100,000 people to start off the Cup Series season. And yeah, from my vantage point, I think, my experience and being able to deliver in the past, like at Talladega in 2024, I've been able to win the season opener there in the Truck Series and in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. I think, for me, my experience and how comfortable as a driver I seem to be in some of the most uncomfortable situations is something that I lean on in those moments. For me, it just seems super fitting that the race was as chaotic as it was, and the last lap was as crazy as it was, because seemingly more times than not, when things go that way, that is when I'm at my best, and I'm not, running a million things through my head. I'm just trusting my instinct and just driving from, within.
NASCAR kept the race green for the final lap and what have you, final wreck. I'm wondering how much were you aware of the chaos that was going on behind you, particularly considering, I mean, how aware were you about that?
Yeah, I mean, it happened across, it started just off to my right, outside of my windshield with Hocevar and Eric Jones. I had to breathe the throttle.
Now, many other drivers from what we've been covering here on the channel felt the type of way about those wrecks. They thought a cautionary flag should have came out, which could possibly ultimately cost Tyler Reddick winning that race. But this was very interesting. Good question from Stephen A. Smith.
Just a little bit to not clip Eric Jones harder and wreck myself. So I was very aware of it. And yes, to your point, that happened. So I'm like, man, I gotta get by the 47 as quick as I can. And I'm trying to side draft, and I'm waiting for my spotter to tell me in my ear through the radio that the yellow's out, the race is over, it's official. And that call never came. And once we realized it wasn't going to come, I mean, you can't sit there and, panic about, well, why didn't they throw the yellow? You got to just move on to the next thing. And that for me was figuring out, okay, who behind me do I have to push me? And,
Right.
it's a dream scenario. My teammate Riley Herbst was coming back into the mix. He's catching up to the group of us at the front, and he gave me that big push to get me clear of Stenhouse and slot in behind Joey Logano to set up that final move through 3 and 4 on Zane Smith and then Chase Elliott.
We're talking to Tyler Reddick, winner for the Daytona 500, right here with Stephen A. on Stephen A. Smith Show, Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Let me get into Michael Jordan in this regard. Those of us who know him know the greatest basketball player to have ever walked the planet Earth, a 6-time champion or whatever. Most people don't know how much this man has loved NASCAR, how much this man has loved car racing all of these years. What is it like, and what has it been like for you working with Michael Jordan as a team owner?
I mean, it's as a kid, you dream of driving in the Cup Series for the greats of our sport. You have your Rick Hendricks, your Roger Penske's, your Joe Gibbs. And then here a couple years ago, here comes, Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan to start 23XI. And to see what they've been able to do over, their first 5 or 6 years is just incredible. And for me, being able to sit down with Michael years ago and hear him talk about how much racing means to him, going back to when he was a little kid, understanding firsthand the passion he has for racing and hearing him say those things. And then on top of that, tell me how much he wanted me to be the driver of his 45 car, just really set home for me how much this means to him. It's important for me that the people that I drive for and I represent on the racetrack have a shared, love and passion and value of racing. And, with Denny on the racing side and Michael from his competitiveness that we've seen on the court and beyond, having ownership like that is as invested in it as you are as a driver is super important. And for me, I just love being able to deliver in these big moments for him. We've been able to do it a few times, and there's no race bigger than the Daytona 500. And to be able to deliver that for him and hold that trophy, the Harley J. Earl trophy, up with him in victory lane is stuff you can only dream of as a kid, honestly.
Is he as hands-on, as an owner as one would think? Because obviously being a leader, he was very, very big on accountability when he was a pro athlete, obviously so, even more so than he was as an owner in basketball. When you look at him in this realm, is he as hands-on? Does he get into the technical aspects of things? What is he like in that regard?
I mean, he is always wanting to learn something new, and I think he blows the expectations out of the water, in my opinion. He's, we have many meetings throughout the year, whether that's getting ready for a race or talking about a race that's happened or looking ahead to the season ahead. And I mean, he is so involved as an owner. He's chiming in with me about how I feel about the weekend. He's with the drivers. He has a great relationship, and he's always there to provide support and knowledge and words of wisdom. A couple weeks ago, one thing in particular comes to mind is just he did a very good job of conveying what his goals are and how much he believes in the people that he's put in place here at 23XI. And yeah, to be able to just, again, it's just so cool that someone like Michael Jordan cares enough about this to this level and wants to be involved in a lot of the things that take place leading up to the race and during it.
Yeah, I happen to know a little bit about him and how psychotic and crazy he can be. Is he the kind of dude that want to compete against you, want to get in a go-kart or something, or try to lure you to the golf course so he can beat up on you? I mean, has he been that kind of guy for you?
I know I need I'm not very good at golf. I know he would kick my ass pretty good there. Right. For me, I think back to the first time me, Bubba Wallace, and Michael were all kind of together. And I was like, "Hi, Michael, how are you?" I'm kind of quiet, polite. And then Bubba, like right out of the gate, just goes immediately to talking smack with Michael, and they're going back and forth. So, for me, it's I'm really just I'm a race car driver. It's all I've done since I was 4. So, I would love to have the opportunity to go out there and go race with them on the racetrack some capacity. But I really don't cut up with him too much like that, because I know he could pretty much beat me at golf, beat me at basketball, a lot of these other things. I got my one thing I'm good at,
Yeah, you've been through a lot the last calendar year, and I think that, we've all read about and heard about your son and the challenges that he has had. Underwent successful life-saving surgery to remove a tumor in his chest in late 2025, if I remember correctly. Can you speak to that and what Sunday's moment was like for you in light of that reality, what you had to deal with on a personal level with your family? Can you talk about that for a second, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, Rookie was born Sunday morning of the Coca-Cola 600, which is our longest race of the year. So just right from the very beginning, he got thrown into this racing stuff, being born in the middle of the season, and it was tough for it was tough for me, but it was really tough for my wife,
Mm-hmm.
Alexa. I mean, just seeing him kind of struggle with things early on, and just being in pain and fussy, and just there was a number of things taking place, and my wife was on top of it from the very beginning. Going to the doctors, asking the pediatricians, asking the questions, what is this? What's going on? And he just went down a path that just didn't seem right. When we think about how our first son, Bo, was at that age, and it was just tough. We were kind of led to believe that these things going on will go away on their own.
Right.
And my wife had to trust her gut. She said, no, I don't like the answers I'm getting anymore. And she, I think it was on Friday while we were in the playoffs and I was flying to Kansas. She took Rookie to Levine's Children's Hospital in Charlotte, and very quickly they were able to identify that something is wrong. He's in heart failure. His heart is way too big. His heart is not able to function properly, and they were able to, the first couple of days were really crazy, right? Because we understood what was wrong, but it took time to figure out what was causing the heart failure, what was causing these health issues, and it was really, really hard on us. But my wife went through a lot throughout the whole process. So to be able to get the care we needed and all support from the racing industry, I mean, Rick Hendrick went out of his way to help us get to the right people we needed to. We went to Levine's, Joey Logano and his family reached out and supported us. I mean, there were so many people. Joe Gibbs, when it came to trying to get to the racetrack, willing to help and get me to the racetrack, leaving the hospital, going back to the racetrack. I mean, there was the NASCAR community did just so much to help us throughout this process. And I've heard how much NASCAR is a family, and we have each other's backs through the hardest times, and we really got to experience that for ourselves. I'm just really thankful that things went well for Rookie, and he was able to recover very fast. He's strong, he's tough, and it's just been so rewarding to see how much happier he has been since he's recovered from this. We still have, we're still monitoring, doing x-rays and stuff to make sure the tumor's not going to grow back. But I'm just really thankful for all the cooperation and the smart minds that came together to, help my son get better, get the care he needed, get the surgery that needed to be done, so he can recover and live as normal life as possible as he grows up.
Tyler, how old is your son, Rookie?
He's 8 months old.
8 months. Wow. Strong kid. Hopefully, I think everything's looking great. So happy for you and the family. Make no mistake about it. Difficult, I imagine, for you to drive under those conditions. How'd you pull that off?
I
I'm
truly
wondering. I'm trying to figure out myself. I'd have a tough time driving down the damn street under those conditions.
Yeah. I mean, I remember, again, landing after Kansas. I'm home and I'm heading, straight to the hospital. And yeah, it's tough, man. You get there, you get to the hospital, you don't want to leave. And, he was there for 29 days. It's a long haul. You need to give yourself a minute to understand what's happening and reset yourself. And my wife needed that too. And it was hard to spend time away from the hospital, certainly, but things just, my number one priority was being there with Rookie, with my wife, and things just kind of, fell into place to where he was in stable enough condition where I was, me and my wife were on the same page, and she was good with me going to the racetrack.
Right.
Again, throughout all this, Micheal, he calls me and he tells me, look,
Right.
if you need to miss the rest of the year, I get it. I understand. do whatever you need to do. And to have that support from, again, NASCAR, but then also my owners and my team and those that I work with on a day-to-day basis throughout this whole process just meant the world to us. And I don't know, I feel like I was a mess at home, at the hospital, but something, I wasn't putting in the work during the week I normally would, but when I got in the car, I was able to just, race for rookie. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense. I wanted to be able to bring home hardware and provide for my family. So it all worked out. And seeing his big smile and how happy he was in Victory Lane on Sunday just was a truly special moment.
Yeah, before I let you get on out of here, I mean, I'm glad you spoke about Michael Jordan and how supportive he was with you. Seems pretty tight with you, seems pretty tight with your family. We've seen this media backlash because of his celebration with your family. Any comments you want to throw about that? I already went off on people over this nonsense, but is there anything that you'd like to say about the media backlash involving Michael Jordan celebrating with your family?
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, I've gotten to know Michael and his family very well over the years I've been here with 2311, and I don't see what other people see when it comes to this. For me, it's a huge moment. This is the biggest moment of my career. It's a huge moment for my family and for his family, and I just, I put that off to the side and just think about how think about the look on Yvette's face, and the whole family and his whole group when they got to Victory Lane too, and just how happy and everybody was celebrating together. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with it.
Tyler Reddick, happy for you, proud of you, winner of the Daytona 500, my man, big time accomplishment, and obviously.
So that was Tyler Reddick speaking about the situation with Michael Jordan. I want to know your thoughts down in the comment section. Make sure you guys keep them bells on. I will be back with more content. Till next time, man, shake the haters off. I'm out of here. Peace out.